Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. First of all, I just gotta sit there and say this right off the bat. I really miss doing Days of Our Lives reviews. Really miss doing them. And I'll tell you more about my feelings towards doing Days of Our Lives reviews and why I had to kind of take a bit of a pause. But going into this episode, the theme of this episode in a lot of ways should be out of pocket, right? That if just look at it as a whole. A lot of this stuff, a lot of people are just out of pocket. Johnny looks like a jackass. Let's just be very, very, very clear. He said some horrible things to the woman that he supposedly loved. I always find it very odd. You ever see those couples that have these public arguments, like saying the most god awful things possible. And I've always sit there, I never been in relationships like that, but I can't imagine saying the worst things possible to someone that I claim to love. And even if I was thinking that stuff, I wouldn't go about it and say it. Don't get me wrong, I make my point across, but I don't have to do it in a way where I am tearing down someone, that way. But he calls her all sorts of names. Lying, cheating slut, which even me saying that just makes me feel kind of about it. I'm not a fan of slut shaming if you watching my videos or live streams, but he says all this stuff, right? Then he goes out there, they're all like surprised and everything like that. Chanel comes out there, she's in tears, and she is just like, yeah, mm-hmm. Feel pretty stupid, don't you? And she pretty much lets everybody on the set know. Seth, Alex, Bonnie, Paulina, was all watching this, and she pretty much kind of just lays out all their dirty laundry. And Johnny's like, "What are you talking about? Seth was the one that was saying that, he saw you with Alex." Now Seth was like, "Yeah, yeah, I saw it with Faith. This is Faith, right?" And Stephanie's like, "No." So now Chanel just really goes off on him a little bit. She doesn't even start yelling or whatever. She is so angry at this point that she just says what she says. She takes the cake, throws it in his face, and walks off. And Johnny runs after her. Stephanie is out of pocket because she blames Seth for this whole mix up. And I'm like, you need to not sit there and say anything. You should, first of all, your ass should be fired at this point. Okay? You're the one that sat there and decided to have sex with him on set. Okay? With an actor. Like, this is your fault. You did this. And you have the audacity to sit there and blame him? So my stuff was like, you do realize that, would you like the producers to know? You're the one that sat there banging dudes and stuff like that, banging him and everything like that, while, you're supposed to be a professional about this whole thing. And she sat there and she looked stupid. And I'm like, you shouldn't have opened your goddamn mouth because now you look really dumb. So she just had this stupid look on her face. And then Kate comes in there. And she's like, oh, much. And I'm like, see, I've never been a fan of Stephanie. I never have been. And this is one of those many examples of why I'm not a fan of her. So Kate comes over and Kate pretty much is like, I'm going to give you one warning. Because honestly, to tell you the truth right now, I should be sitting there firing both of your asses. I'm going to be honest, Stephanie, you're a little bit more expendable. Maybe I should sit there and just fire you when you really think about it. That's not what she said, but that's what I'm sitting there thinking. She's like, you get one more warning, stay away from each other. Now, yesterday, I didn't do a review on it, but she had this little stink attitude. I don't know what the hell that was about. But, she's been overthinking, both of them been overthinking this whole being together and sleeping around and everything like that. It's not that big of a deal. Y'all two grown asses consenting adults. This, you know what I'm saying? Like this is so stupid. I don't know if they would have had this type of conversation way back when, in the early 90s and stuff like that. I feel like this generation overthinks things, trips over each other's feelings, and aren't brave enough to sit there and say how they really feel. Um, Joy, Nancy comes across as an addict. Okay, I wasn't a huge fan of her since day one. I find her to be pretty annoying and obnoxious, and just yeah. But she's like, where's this ring from? What's going on? Joy has this I don't give two flying shits what you gotta say. She acts like it's not a big deal. She says it was Johnny's ring, and she's all like, well, listen, it's not like Chanel or whoever, his wife is just, squeaky clean woman. She's out there, they're cheating on him, so, it is what it is. Nancy is not they're trying to ingrain in her that two wrongs don't make a right, which is actually very true. My stance on the whole cheating thing, eye for an eye, even Steven, whatever you want to sit there and call it. The reason why she is just having this stink attitude with her from get go, not just because she does come across as a nag, but because she always felt like she was less than. She felt like her mom didn't want her. She felt like, in a sense, she was kind of used for spare parts when Chloe was sick and she needed a bone marrow transplant. So, this is, she just feels less than. And apparently they've been having all sorts of issues. So while Nancy is like, hey, listen, I still love you, yada, yada, yada. She's like, okay, fine, you love me, but it doesn't, erase whatever damage that's been done for 21 something plus years or whatever. And I'm kind of just like, bro, maybe you need to set, I don't know why, but I guess part of me was just like, I was kind of over that in the first 30 something seconds. It was like, oh, okay, this is the kind of relationship it is. Plus, she sat there and when, Nancy was like, you do realize that my husband was there cheating on me, right? So you're acting like it's just not that big of a deal when I was the other person I was getting cheated on. She just has this look like, yeah, and I was just kind of over it. I was literally over whatever issues that they had for over 30 something years. I don't know why. I don't dislike the character Joy. I don't really know her that well, but I don't know, maybe just her kind of stink attitude to her mom. Like, while I do get that she can be a nag, I'm already kind of over it, which is very impressive because she has been here less than 5 days, and that's saying a lot. Um, Kate is happy that Hattie, I mean that Marlena did Hattie's job, and Abe is there talking about Joy and how much of a good job that she did, but before he could sit there and really weigh in on if she got the job or not, um, he wants to sit there and see how the candidate is. Now, towards the end, Joy meets up with Johnny, and Johnny is, Johnny was just sitting there making a bunch of excuses. First of all, that's pretty much all he wound up doing. Was, well, you can sit there and see how I connected the dots from this and that and this and that and the third, and you know, um, from what Seth said, and you're sneaking around town, and you're doing this, and you're doing that, and all of this added up to absolutely nothing. Bro, you look like an asshole, okay? No matter how you sit there and try to connect the dots into somebody else's fault and this, that, and the third, bro, somewhere along the lines of your relationship, you seem like you lost trust in her. And so much so that you couldn't sit there and speak to her like an adult. You sat there and said, well, she had back problems. Oh, because now you're assuming that Alex just, blew out her back? You couldn't sit there and talk to her like a grown ass adult. So everything that you said at that point was nothing. It was nothing and it meant nothing. And you just sat there and made excuses for your piss poor behavior. So she told you to leave. Because at that point, you ain't doing nothing except for annoying her. Why you do apologize? What does that mean? What does that mean? Paulina was a little out of pocket too for saying that this was partially Abe's fault for Abe putting the idea of Alex, it's not there kind of getting Alex to be on board the show. And I'm like, no, Paulina, you sound stupid. Stop. Stop. You are a grown ass woman. The fact that you are sitting there putting any blame on him is completely out of pocket. This all is on Johnny. Okay? Well, Johnny's only human. Paulina, please shut up. Like, seriously, shut up. I'm glad they didn't get into a whole overblown argument about it because I probably would have been sitting there dragging Paulina's ass through the goddamn calls. Leo and Bonnie added their version of comedy. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna sit there and say. Like, I'll give you an example of what they consider comedy. You can tell when they do the comedy because they put in that cheesy, cringy ass music. Um, Leo is eating a cake, and Bonnie's like, "What are you doing? What do you think he's doing? He's eating a cake. Wait, he's not supposed to eat a cake because Chanel, the baker, is having problems with her relationship, so we should just let cake go to waste." Like, again, I get it. It's supposed to be humorous. It just kind of goes over my head. Like, Bonnie as a character is supposed to be kooky and funny and eccentric, right? I get that they want to sit there in that levity, and I guess it works for some people. Um, I am not one of them. I don't. You know what? Listen, let me ask you a question. Do you find Bonnie funny and charming and kind of cute, and eccentric, or do you just kind of find her to be a bit of annoying? And not annoying in a way where it wants to make you turn off the TV, but in a way when she comes in and they start playing that music, and you're just like, oh, you let me know. Uh, oh, and then see, this is another part that's supposed to be a little more serious, but it just kind of comes across as, oh, it's kooky and funny and cute. Like, Nancy runs across Leo and Bonnie, and she's like, "Oh, you, the home wrecker," and then they play like the funny music, and I'm like, "This is not like this is not funny." Like, seriously, this is not. But I get that they're trying to add levity into something to kind of make the show not seen as heavy, but then you kind of take away from the fact that, well, Chief does feel like he's a home wrecker. And in all reality, sometimes I do always sit there, like, and look at that and be like, Nancy, it was your man that was sitting there sleeping with him. It was your man that sat there and stepped out on him. Like, I never understand in these situations when you see somebody cheating with somebody and then you run up to the other woman or you run up to the other guy and you start fighting them or her. And it's like, you do realize that, one, they probably didn't know. And two, your anger should be all directed at the person who cheated at you, not the other person. And I understand that this is where emotion and logic clearly do not meet in the middle. But, it's one of those things where it's like, Nancy, stop. You're going to be upset with somebody, be upset with your ex-husband. And you seem like you kind of moved on and you got in a better place with him. So, again, what's with the attitude on Leo? But it's overshadowed by the kooky, funny music, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, sure. I feel like that's about it. Can't think of anything else. But if I missed anything, write it in the comment section below. Also, oh yeah, kind of forgot the reason. Um, I'll say this in the simplest, I'll say this in the most concise way possible. I love doing reviews on all four of them, but I've noticed that it tends to hurt the channel in a sense. The videos that I normally get higher numbers on starts to go down because YouTube has this thing where they will only give out 2 notifications a day. And I don't know why, but it sucks, right? So it starts to, in a way, kind of negatively impact the channel, which is why I always sit there and tell people to come to my live streams because, one, I may not always have the time to do it, and two, even when I do it, it starts to hurt the channel. So I'm going to need your help on this matter. When I sit there and say share it, it's not just to put my stuff out there. I know that there's a lot of people that watch Days of Our Lives. Okay, I made up a list of from worst. Well, actually, somebody else made up a list from worst to best. And if you watch all 4 soap operas, maybe you can kind of agree with me. Bold and Beautiful, Young and the Restless, Days of Our Lives, and General Hospital. I know that there's people that watch Days of Our Lives. Okay, because I've seen it on other people's channels that, they get high numbers. So clearly, Days of Our Lives is an interesting show. But the numbers don't always reflect that. And so I need your help as far as sharing the video. Whenever I do a Days of Our Lives video, if you can sit there and share it on Facebook, if you can share it on Instagram, if you can share it on Twitter, that helps. That puts it out there. Because even though that YouTube would only give out 2 notifications, I know people will sit there and watch it if they know that I do reviews on Days of Our Lives. So that's the reason why I haven't also been doing them. Tuesdays is a little kind of hard to sit there and do that because I get out at 3, and then there's a whole thing about doing order reviews and trying to get it out before 8 o'clock, which is when I do my reviews. I can always sit there and try to do it afterwards, but that's like 10 o'clock, and I don't want people to sit there and have to wait that long to be able to watch a 10-minute video. Or a 17-minute video, which is going on right now. So yes, helping, that will definitely help. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. I'll see you in the next video.